Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode here at the Kickpod podcast, the podcast dojo for inspirational dojo talk. I am your host slash sensei, TJ Williams, giving you the insider of my martial arts journey, discussing and analyzing martial arts based subjects, and highlight individuals that are involved in martial arts past, present, and future. All right. So before we kind of get into my episode, I want to also mention that we're at the last week of April, which is spring is slowly approaching. I mean, of course, it was hot today. Well, not extremely hot, but like it was getting warm. And of course, we're still in Autistic Awareness Month. And of course, everybody, we want to make sure we're educated on those that are autistic. And I know we want to make sure that we're taking care of people that are autistic, make sure they're having a good education, as well as making sure they got a good future. So make sure that we're totally educated in that. All right. So done. So now that we're in the episode, we got guess what? Man, it's a long day, so I'm gonna take it slow. Today I got a guest with me coming from Indiana. All right, so of course she's a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, and of course she is a part of a dojo called the Shining Spirit Warrior. And of course, she agreed to come talk to me today and discuss her journey. So I'm gonna have her take it away. May I introduce everybody to Emily Dorridge, or that's it,
Darlage.
Darlage. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna have her at least discuss her story. That's I'm gonna take it away. How you doing there, Emily?
Fantastic. It's a true honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So just give everybody the listeners a brief description of what you do now.
Okay. I currently instruct Chung Do Kwan style Taekwondo, and then also teach self-defense seminars that are kind of a mishmash of different arts. I try to teach multiple things so that people find what works best for them, that they can practice it and kind of develop the muscle memory that we all know is important. And then I also continue to train in Taekwondo as well as Nakoa Lua.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I definitely can relate to how you say you teach different type of self-defense, because that's basically what my style of martial arts is, the Chuck Norris system. So we basically want to take everything that works and kind of apply it to our style. So
Yes, awesome. Definitely. Everybody's different, so we all have to learn differently and find what works.
Amazing. All right, so we're going to kind of take things back in time. So we're going to get in a time machine and kind of see where you first began with martial arts. So the first question would be, describe yourself before you got into martial arts. So basically, who were you?
I was a wimp. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, very much the poor me attitude, would give up easily. I had done a few mini marathons, which looking back, I'm surprised at myself that I did them at that time. But luckily I had some friends that nudged me along. But I was somewhat of kind of a narcissist and hypochondriac and those types of things. And I look back now and kind of wonder how I survived as long as I did in this world. But learning to be a more positive person, not give up, the indomitable spirit, of course, of martial arts is just a key in life, not just in martial arts. So I've come a long way, mentally, physically, spiritually, everything through martial arts.
Yeah, and I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that about, of course, this is still Autistic Awareness Month. So, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We have students that we that struggle with autism, and then we, of course, as instructors, as martial artists, we have to be there for them, at least encourage them that limitation is nothing when you believe in yourself.
Exactly. There's always a way to accomplish our goals. We just have to learn what that way is and realize that it's all a learning experience and a way to grow as a person. So no matter what our situation is, what our capabilities or disabilities are, there's always a way.
Yeah, that's why I got this podcast. I mean, I want to at least go talk more with people. I mean, I want to at least learn more about other martial arts styles other than my own. Because one thing my art teacher must once told me, I mean, go beyond what you know. I mean, really, that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. I'm getting ready for master rank in my style. So at least if I could take something from another style and kind of apply it to my style, I mean, I could be extra ready for fifth degree. Yeah.
Yes, yes, fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned doing a marathon, really, I'm trying to like at least train myself to do like a half marathon because I can at least run 10 miles. That's as much as I can run.
Yeah, yeah, it was the mini marathons, the half marathons. And I'm actually a walker, but I did run some for portions of those. So, you think you've trained hard enough, but luckily you get that second wind at about mile 10. And yeah, my son asked me recently if I was going to do another when I currently having some neurological issues. And he said, when you're healed, are you going to do another one? I said, oh gosh, no, I'm too old. And then I came back, I said, I changed my mind. I'm never too old. I am going to do another one. So more goals.
Yeah. I always tell people don't play that jazz. I mean, that's the wrong kind of music.
Exactly. I got my first degree black belt actually for my 40th birthday. So, I thought about that and I thought, no, I'm not too old. I'm going to keep doing them. So
awesome. All right. So let's go to that one event that got you started with martial arts. So what's the one thing that that you saw saying that I want to do martial arts?
Well, I think most people around my age, my generation, what really drove us to want to do any martial arts would be the original Karate Kid movies, of course,
Yep.
So that, and I don't know, I have an older brother and he wasn't in martial arts, but I don't know, you just always wish you learned better how to take care of yourself instead of having to have big brother do it for you. And, the world is changing. So I think it's important to learn that for confidence and safety.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I know with the struggle with me was I had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I mean, ADHD. I mean, I usually have my mom do stuff for me a lot, but for me, being in the martial arts, it kind of changed things for me. It's like I have like that courage or that urge to do something for myself, and not always ask my mom, say, do this for me, do that for me. I mean, I want to at least try to be a little out there for myself. Yeah.
Yes. And I think the more you do that, the better you feel about yourself as a person and you set examples for others. So, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, you had that push that, I mean, you have the older brother and you say you want to be able to protect yourself. I mean, you don't want your big brother to be like getting your problems. I mean, you want to solve them yourself. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing about martial arts. When I was in a podcast like a couple of weeks ago, I was asked that one question, like, do you think of this as a tool or do you think of this as a way of life? So I didn't hesitate. So I say, this is a way of life.
Life.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're learning like how to take care of yourself. Like you say, you were like mental, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You want to take care of all those categories when you're going out, like in the real world. Like I tell my students that everything you learn in school is very vital for you out in the real world. So if you're treating school like a tool, I mean, you're kind of cheating yourself out when you're out there in the real world and you try to take care of yourself. So that's how I kind of apply martial arts to like you're going to school. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. There's always something to get from it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always a science, there's a history, there's a language, and somewhat there's a math to martial arts. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
All right. Can you remember your first memory of your first class that you ever took?
Oh, yes. In fact, I tell this story to every one of my new students when they come in, because, they're all nervous to step onto the floor and embarrassed and afraid they're going to look like a fool. And my first class, I didn't realize that classes started 30 minutes earlier that night than they do the other nights for adults. I had been bringing my oldest son there for about a year. And So I just thought the adult class was the same time every night. I didn't realize there was no children's class first on Tuesdays. So first thing, I walked in 30 minutes late to my first class. And it was mostly upper belt students that night. So they're all looking at me out there already working hard, and I'm 30 minutes late, the new person. And then I also thought, there's always that little chip on your shoulder. The farther along you advance, the less of a chip on your shoulder you have, I think. But I walk in thinking, I've helped my son learn these kicks and do this stuff, and I'm going to just walk out there and do it. And, you're barefoot on the floor training, and I go to throw a kick on the Wave Master, and slipped, and down I went.
Oh.
I was totally embarrassed. And so I tell my first students that you can't be more embarrassed than I was my first night. I walked in, thought I could throw a kick properly. And not only was the kick not proper, but, I slipped and fell and busted my rear end in front of all these black belts. So yeah, I will never forget that night.
Yeah, so what was your mindset after that first class? I mean, you, of course, you said you threw the kick wrong, and then you almost kind of embarrassed yourself. But what was that one thing that says I have to come back and do this properly?
Yeah. I was just flabbergasted at how welcoming and supportive everyone was. No one laughed at me. They helped me up, which I was laughing at myself. But there was none of that. It was a very family feeling just from the very start. It felt like they were my family. They had my back. Very supportive, encouraging, patient. I just knew that was the atmosphere I'd been looking for my whole life. And if you get in the right school with right people, that's what you're going to feel. It's going to be a family for you. Just right instantly, I felt like they had my back.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. I mean, when you talk about that, I think of the movie The Matrix. You have
yes,
you have Keanu Reeves, of course. He doesn't know where he's at. I mean, of course, yeah. And then you got all these people that are like say trained in like The Matrix, including of course Lauren Fishburne, that he's like Morpheus, and then of course you got Keanu Reeves, and that's one scene where he jumps off the building, and then he's just like falls. And then, and then you got the one guy says, everybody falls the first time. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Everybody falls the first time. Yeah. Yeah. And to add to that, it's not always the first time.
Yeah.
After I got my first degree black belt, my first class back, I thought I was really big and something special again. And, us chicks, we got to get our toes done. I went and got a pedicure and got all the calluses off my feet. Not a good idea to do right before class. So I go out there, my first class after getting my black belt, and throw a kick, and I did the same thing, slipped and fell right. And I thought, okay, lesson again, be humble. No matter how high ranking you are, there's always things that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I always keep myself properly trained. I mean, even when I'm not taking classes, I mean, mostly I don't have to test physically anymore, but I mean, I want to keep myself up to date with the techniques.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. So would you say getting your first degree black belt, would that say that be your favorite moment, or there's more favorite moments?
I think actually my favorite was probably, I've got a couple. It's hard to pick, but I think I enjoyed the satisfaction of my second degree test more. I got injured during the test, but continued to go, which again, that's total different mindset from before I started martial arts to then. I was injured, and one of the masters asked if I was injured, and I said, yes, sir, but I'm still finishing. And I did, and I finished and accomplished it well, and still excelled on the self-defense aspect. Sparring's never been my thing, but the self-defense, I still excelled on that, to the point that the table of masters came to myself and my partner after the test and asked how we did some of the techniques. So here I was testing for second degree and getting to teach the masters something. So I think that's one of my favorite moments. Another favorite moment, and this guy will laugh if he hears this. My buddy Todd, I was probably a green belt then. He gave me a black eye, and he was a second-degree black belt at the time, And so I held that in my mind for a lot of years. So after I tested for second, I got paired up with him again and kicked him across the room. So we laugh about it now. We're buddies. It's all good. But, those were two fun moments.
Well, yeah, it takes some to give some, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was all in fun. Nobody got hurt really either time, but it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, just thinking about my favorite moment. Of course, my favorite moment is my last physical test, my 4th-degree test, which in this Wednesday would be like 3 years since I got my 4th degree.
Awesome.
Yeah, other than thinking about the test, I'm thinking about the ride there. I mean, it was like me and my master instructor driving from like where I live, Niagara Falls, to Boston from 12 midnight to 7 o'clock in the morning. So yeah.
Oh, and then go test.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
The most challenging thing is getting there because we missed 2 exits going to Boston. I mean, but definitely that moment when I was going for my last physical test, I mean, that was like I had to give it everything I got. And you would talk about your injury going into the second. Well, of course, for me, I endured like an injury before the test. Like it was like a couple years. I mean, I had to deal with sciatica. I mean, that was yeah, because of course, I was healing up so I could be ready for my 4th degree. And of course, like I say, like a month before, it's kind of kept recurring, coming back. I had to like try to get that fixed up. And, but luckily, I mean, it didn't act up when I was doing my 4th degree test. But that test, I was pushed past my limits.
Yes.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you hurt for quite a while after that.
Well,
but well worth it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was almost out of it. I was making sure I had my energy up. Mostly the things that were going over, it was like I had to at least push myself past my limits. I mean, I couldn't hold back everything that I was doing. So definitely that was a test that really put me like past my limits.
I bet.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing though, that we learned that our limits really are set too early in our goals, in our dreams, that we set our limits here. And if we move that up, we can reach it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always that consistency. Yeah. Man, we're moving along with this. This is wonderful. So can you describe your 1st degree black belt test? I mean, I don't know if you did already, but yeah, like what was your mindset?
Terrified. You hear all these stories and every bit of it's true. You have people there that you get paired up with that, they want to try to prove something. And of course you want to try to prove something so you pass. And, generally speaking, as a woman, I've not experienced what a lot of women have where, you're a woman, you can't do this or whatever. I've never experienced that. I've been blessed to train with people that weren't that way, but unfortunately at test, you get a little of that. So I was terrified, but again, worked through it. Very excited, but it's going to be 3-4 hours at least. And you think you've trained for that endurance, but boy, it's amazing how worn out you are just before the end. But again, you get that second wind, you push through, you realize you're about there. And you just go for it. But boy, it's definitely something you won't forget.
Yeah, no, it's always nerve-wracking going in that test, especially if it's a 1st degree, you're hoping that you don't go first because you get that rest period.
Yes. And with my 1st degree test and my 2nd degree, that for part of it, we all went at the same time, but I ended up in the front row every time. And I don't know, at the time I kind of thought that was bad because, if you get nervous and forget, there's no one to kind of watch and hurry and copy off of or whatever. But I look back now and I think it was a blessing because there were people there that didn't pass, that seeing them do it incorrectly could have thrown me off. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that, but I may in the future, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I know for my third and my second, well, not my third and my fourth pre-tests, I know I failed those before I had to go to the actual test. But I kind of went back and kind of figure out where I need to work on. And then from
Yes.
there, I would pass my third and my fourth pre-test. And then of course, well, the thing about the pre-test, I had to do it solo because nobody else wasn't testing with me. I had
Yes.
so I had all the attention that well, not that I needed, but I had all that attention. So all the eyes were on me. So I couldn't even hold back.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I think that's, yeah, my first gap. Uh, I think that was the way too. Like I failed my pre-test a couple of times, and then when I did test, it was just me. And that's a whole different level of intimidation.
Yeah.
But when you pass that, you really knew it.
Yeah. So do you have like some like sense of luck? Like you had like for me when I had my fourth degree, well, my fourth degree pretest, I had like a picture of my grandma who passed away
Oh,
like months before. And I kind of had that like as sort of somebody needs to watch me. I wanted my father to come watch the test, but he had something to do. So of course I had my picture of my grandma. So I had that, so it's kind of like a sense of motivation. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think for me, my motivation is I've had some family members that were much like I was before I got into martial arts, where they would give up easy, they would tell you to just quit, and wanting to set a better example for my kids and prove that that's not how we have to be is my motivation in general. But yeah, I've got some cousins that are like sisters that I usually talk to them before testing, and got a tattoo that we all got matching. That it's kind of silly, but I kind of rub over the tattoo for good luck beforehand, and we all have our little things, I guess. But and lots of prayer.
yep.
Yeah.
Hey, so of course you do you own the Shining what was it, the Shining Spirit Warrior, or you just train there, or
I own it, actually.
oh awesome.
My instructor was retiring, and I, of course, was not ready for that to happen. But with COVID, he decided it was time. So I was already teaching some self-defense seminars on the side, and ended up taking on some of his students and some other students, and here we are. So teach out of my garage. It's not a fancy place, but it works.
Yeah, that's where you always start.
Yes, exactly. I actually started at a farm market because I was teaching a man's son that he owned the farm market. And so he's like, you can teach here if you'll teach my son. So I did that for a while, but it just worked out better to move it back close to home and not have to move equipment all the time. So
Yeah, so of course you had to go to different locations, but of course you wanted to be close to home to at least teach self-defense.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's always good to actually go to those community centers, at least kind of teach people like self-defense. I used to do that a lot. There was a guy outside the style, he would invite me to actually teach after school kids. Of course, kids are like close to like almost being expelled or in trouble, but I wanted to go there, kind of show them like this is what true martial arts can do for you. I mean, if you don't treat it like a tool, you treat it like a way of life. Could make you a better person. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And that brings up another favorite time for me. Our middle school invited me to do a Taekwondo club there for a trimester a couple of years ago. Of course, it was right before COVID. So I'm hoping that as things are settling down, I'll be invited back. But boy, that was really special to get to work with such a wide variety of kids, different walks of life, and teach them things. The end of the trimester, they all got to break a board. So that was pretty exciting for some of them, little 6th, 7th, and 8th graders getting to break a board. And, 6 weeks earlier, they, couldn't do a strike of any type. So kind of gave them that indomitable spirit again, that keep going, you can overcome, you can do things. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, so that breaking that board kind of boost their confidence. pretty much.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, okay, so were you always willing to be an instructor, or if this is something like that kind of came to you when you of course you said you're instructor and retired, so was being an instructor your first pick pretty much?
It was. I just didn't think I was ready. But, I think again, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know it,
Yeah.
or that you think you don't know enough. But it's amazing what you can learn through instructing as well. So it was something I always wanted. I didn't think I was ready yet, but apparently the timing was the way it was supposed to be. Things always work out how they're supposed to. So.
Yeah. I mean, now teaching the class is second nature to me. I never wanted to be an instructor, I wanted to be that
Really?
person. Yeah, but I was first started as an assistant, and I kind of
Mhm.
grew out to it because the instructor I was assisting with kind of was like retiring. And it's like I have to at least learn how to do this by myself. So I mean, I've learned from other instructors to help me out, say like, how can I teach students how to do this better, like how to do that. Like we kind of that's why I had like an instructor class, kind of teach like where we can be better. Well, what how we could be better instructors. So that's really good that we have that. So
I love that. I love that. I think that's fascinating and inspiring. I think it's a fabulous idea.
yeah. So I mean, the one thing that kind of helped me become a better instructor is the fact that I do fitness instructing too. So I
Oh,
mean, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. I started off doing body combat, like fitness, so felt that was good for me. And then of course I went on to be an alpha instructor. And for me, when somebody asked me this, well, they don't ask, they beg. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's that's awesome.
Right. So let's kind of go into your self-defense, like teaching, like what,
Mhm,
like when you teach self-defense, you kind of analyze like what you see, like how people like post like fights out like on YouTube or
mhm,
Facebook,
mhm.
and you kind of analyze like, do you analyze from how to do self-defense from that, or basically from what you learn?
A combination, actually. I go back to what I've learned. I go back to what I'm still learning through Hawaiian Lua. It's amazing the self defense hidden in the hula and lua arts. That it's all bone breaking and joint locking. So adding that into what I had already learned, um, I was very blessed. My instructor that I started with and was with for 14 years, Master Gambrel, when he taught self-defense portions of class, most of it was not Taekwondo. There were portions that were, but he would use bits and pieces from Salat and Hapkido and Aikido and Krav Maga and
Mm-hmm.
karate and Sistema and Kali. So most of the time I can't even remember what came from what style, but I've determined that it's effective. So that's what I teach. So um, I need to learn probably what came from what style, but I just find what seems to work best for different sizes and shapes of people and different skill levels, and that's what we teach. So and some of it does come from studying videos and fights, and some of it comes from what I've done. I have an assistant that helps teach, that he does a lot of research and practices with his buddies, and he'll come in and teach new stuff too. So
Yeah, so that's what I pretty much do with like when I see fights on, like you see fights on YouTube or Facebook, I kind of look at it's like, I mean, if I see a guys hands down, it's like put your hands up, just going to
yes,
attack.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And you see things where people are getting choked and you're like, trap and roll, trap and roll.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm blessed too that the father of one of my students is actually a jail commander officer, and retired Navy, or I'm sorry, retired Army. Boy, he'd come after me for that. But I respect all branches, just FYI.
Mm,
But he has sometimes assisted with the self-defense training as well, which is interesting to see it from a different aspect. So
yeah, I guess with self-defense, you have to have that I'm gonna say this ironically, Jedi sense. Yeah,
yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, when I think about like the situation, of course I do also do pro wrestling. There's always problems in the locker room. Of course, a guy shows up, and, I'm just sitting there, and then he's just screaming on top of his lungs, and I'm
Uh-huh.
sensing something's happening. I don't know if he's carrying a gun or he's going to strike, but
Right.
he ends up hitting the other guy, which that was like my one of my predictions. And then from there, it went from all the guys jumping him and holding him down for the police to come. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Wow. Some scary times.
oh yeah,
Save
it's
it
like
for the ring, right?
yeah, pretty much. You always
Yeah.
have that one person that has problems, and I don't
Mhm.
want to be that could have been the time I would have got killed or something, like really got shot. But I'm
Yeah.
lucky that didn't happen. Luckily,
Yes, you are. Yes, you
yeah,
are. Yeah.
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 So yeah, it's just think this is wonderful. Just really getting information, and you mentioned Krav Maga, so that's one of the styles that we're kind of incorporating our style of the Chuck Norris system. It's like that's one style because that's like Israel is like it's kill or be killed kind of situation.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is. Yes, it is. And that's, my friends crack up, some of them sew and knit. I'm like, I will never be that grandma, which I'm not a grandma yet, but I will never be that grandma. I'm going to be like, how can I throw this person?
yeah.
So, and I love Krav Maga for that aspect. It's kill or be killed. And I really love that.
Yeah, I know it's roughly expensive getting into Krav Maga, and it's intense training too. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very much so. Yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunately, the way the world is, I think more and more of us need that. But
yeah. I understand you do like do you do fitness also? Because I think I saw it on your profile that you work at a fitness center, or I'm a
no, no, but
oh
I'm open to it.
I know. I thought I saw that. I mean, I don't know. I was like really doing research trying to get prepared for this interview.
Sure,
So yeah.
sure. Uh-huh.
Uh, all right, but do you do any activities outside of martial arts?
Mostly following my kids around. I've got my oldest son is a singer songwriter, so he'll play gigs different places, and
Hmm?
got to be the proud mom in the crowd. And then my youngest son is still in high school sports, plays football and golf, and so follow him around. And um, I just love though to get together with friends and family and just kind of decompress and laugh and enjoy life. I think life's too short, and we need to make time for those we care about.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to try to make time for my nieces. Like, I
Uh,
mean, it was like the first time I got to see him, it's like, of course, this is before like they had you do COVID tests before you go into Canada. But now that they kind of like simmer down the COVID test, I can just go over there anytime I want. So it's
yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. How old?
I mean, my oldest niece is like 15. So
Okay.
and my youngest is like almost 9. So yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. They grow up fast.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like being a proud uncle. It's like I had my oldest niece take karate, like she got up to yellow belt, and then of course she quit. I was hoping that she'd become a black belt, but she was amazing. It was like
Oh,
that one time I got to watch her whole class. Is like really, I want to just go over there, just train with her right now. As good at her techniques. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I bet. I bet. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. My dogs are howling. Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's nighttime.
It is. I just want them to hush.
Oh, I mean, we're almost close up. Well, we're almost close to our hidden dojo segment, but I got one more question to ask. What quote would you best describe your journey?
How would I best describe my journey?
Yeah, what quote would you say best describes your journey?
Okay. Sorry. Could you repeat one more time?
What quote best describes your what quote?
Oh gosh. Hmm. And I'm a quote freak. You'd think I'd have one. um, hmm. I think my favorite quote in life is Eleanor Roosevelt. Do what you know in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway. You'll be damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Mm.
And I think I'm kind of learning that through the mind, body, spirit of martial arts, that you learn I've always kind of been taught morals, but you learn a different set of morals and code of ethics and humbleness, respect for others. And I think that, doing what you know in your heart to be right goes along with all of those things from martial arts of, what we should be learning from it. Self-control, but still stand up for what's right when you have to. Look out for each other, and that you're worth protecting, and that your friends and neighbors and other people, strangers, are worth protecting. But only use it when necessary. I think that quote can just cover so much in life, and to me, that's kind of what describes my journey. I think learning to do all of that, to do what's right, and stand up when something needs stood up for, but also learning to hold my tongue.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me, but those things I think are all important in life, and developing your character as a whole.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I should have invited the whole Java buzz here. Andrea Hawkins,
Yeah,
Jade.
I love Andrea. She's an amazing woman. Yeah.
I was trying
the whole group, Jane and Rosita. Yeah, they're fabulous women.
Yeah, I just gotta get Jane on the show. I mean, I got, of course, Andrea and Rosita on the show. So of course, me and Jane is working on. I'm gonna be on her show, and she's gonna be in my show. So definitely be an equal two-way street.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. She's an awesome lady. They're all amazing, very inspiring women.
Yeah, I always catch their show every Friday. At least I try, because I'm in the middle of work. But if I don't have work going on, I just sit there and watch their show and just try to pick up like quotes that really sound good, and I kind of write them down too. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. So I've got the little folder in my desktop that's got all the quotes saved up. So I love it.
Yeah, it's like the one of the quote that she always says, was like, be forgiving, be understanding, but don't be a fool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, you could be forgiven for that person that done you wrong, but you don't want to be a fool, because that person could just be pulling your chain. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we can't change how people are, but we just gotta know we have our limits. We have our say, not our limits, but we draw a line where we
draw a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so we made it to our Hidden Dojo segment. So of course I'm gonna ask Emily several questions. This is the fun part usually, because so all right, so I'm gonna ask you several questions, and then I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. All right. The first question is the best advice you've ever gotten, and who said it?
I'm not sure I can think of a specific quote from him, but best advice was to keep practicing, keep trying, and don't give up. And that would be Master Gambrel. Again, it applies to martial arts, but it applies to everything in life. He always said it takes at least 1,000 kicks for you to perfect that certain kick. And I think that applies to everything. That I don't have the quote exactly right, but another great quote in life is that failure is really just your first chance towards success, or something to that degree. But so Master Gambrel was just always just try again, don't give up. The famous a white belt is, or a black belt is just a white belt that never quit kind of thing. So
Yep. Well, I ain't quitting yet.
Exactly. Me either.
Well, even if I get that black jacket, I'm still going to be training.
Yes, you are. You need to. Your students depend on you, and you depend on yourself. So
yeah, just imagine all the black belt tests. I'm like fighting wars for my students. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least prepare them for war too. Yeah. So when they get
exactly.
All right. Next question. Usually most people don't get this one, but worst advice you ever gotten?
Yes, worst advice I've ever gotten was actually from a physical therapist and a doctor when I had hip dysplasia, the surgery gone bad, retore, and ended up with a hip replacement. They all told me I should quit martial arts.
Mm.
So it was terrible advice because it's just part of who I am. It's part of my soul. But yet in the same token, it drove me to work that much harder and prove them wrong. So, yeah. So.
It's like really, they tell you you can't do something, but you do it anyway just to prove them wrong.
Yeah. Watch this.
All right, guilty pleasure. How do you reward yourself?
Well, I'm a girl, so chocolate. Yeah, love chocolate. Unfortunately or fortunately, occasional margarita. And time with my girlfriends. Take a girls' weekend and go hang out somewhere. And I think friends are an important part of life. So
Yeah, well deserved. I mean, you're working hard at what you're doing, and then of course you need to award yourself. I mean, piece of chocolate, margarita, time with your friends. I mean, you don't have to spend your time working all the time. I mean, you need that reward, that guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, chocolate is good, definitely, especially with Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should call Willy Wonka. Give me one of them golden chocolate eggs.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. If you were in a famous movie, what you want to be in? Like if you were in a famous movie.
Black Widow, hands down, or any Avengers movie. But Black
Yeah.
Widow. I think we all have that dream of being a superhero. So.
Yeah, definitely. Disney Plus definitely helps us out.
Oh yeah. Amen. Amen.
All right. Secret talent.
Well, I don't know if I have the talent anymore, but I used to sing. Used to sing at weddings and different things. And I actually, 30 years ago, I got offered a contract in Nashville, but I turned it down to get married. But still happily married 25 years later. So I guess it worked out.
I mean, that's good. Definitely learns. Well, I mean, there's always a shower. I mean, I don't know if showers give you a contract.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can sing like nobody's business in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I sing, it would be like a voice impersonation, pretty much.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, mostly my voice impersonation is mostly James Earl Jones because I like watching The Lion King. Yeah. Yeah, I can really trick somebody with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they either think I'm Mufasa or Darth Vader. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a Disney freak, really. I mean,
me too. Yeah. Me too.
Awesome. All right, dream celebrity encounter.
And I have to pick just one, huh? Golly, are you talking celebrity through movies or celebrity in the martial arts world?
Well, pretty much both. I mean,
both. Okay. I would say I'm gonna go old school and go like Karen Shepard, Cynthia Rothrick, Kathy Long, Malia Dacascos.
Yep.
I'm friends with Malia, but yet we've never met in person. So we chat all the time or did, but life gets busy. And of course, my instructor, Kumu Michelle Manu. I'd love to meet her in person someday instead of just training through Zoom. But you've mentioned the Chuck Norris system. Chuck Norris, of course.
Yep.
It kills me when my students say, "Who's that?" And I just almost throw them out of class. So yeah, there's a lot of great people I'd love to meet, but those are probably the top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, when you say Chuck Norris, I mean, I was definitely, it's amazing every time I see him when I go to the convention in July. It's like not to ask him for autograph or a picture. It's like that's like person that just wants to be. I just like treat celebrities like they're normal people. It's like
yes, and they are, but just them as a person. He's from everything I've ever read. I've read books of his, and he's just a great person. So
yeah, amazing. I mean, him and his brother and his wife and his two kids. I mean, they
Yes,
they grew up very well, and just like last year, they just got their master rank, which I had the
wow,
pleasure of actually watching them do it. Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah,
That is cool.
his two young kids, Dakota and Danny Lee. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, of course, Dakota is like, I mean, he went from being like almost a little guy that's like pretty much where my hip is, right to taller than me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy.
he must be baptized in like Detroit, Michigan, to be that tall.
Oh,
It's the size of
oh
Detroit,
wow.
Michigan. Yeah, but yeah, he's an amazing person too. Really, yeah,
Yeah.
I seen him progress a lot. Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, let's talk about celebrities encounter because of Chuck Norris. I pretty much met most of the like people that either co-starred or guest starred on Walker Texas Ranger.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Best show ever.
yeah. I mean, got the whole DVD set. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, now that I got digital recorder, I can really like put it in my computer and just watch it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. All right, final question. 10 years from now.
hmm 10 years from now, if I'm still in Indiana and not by a beach somewhere, which is where we all belong, I think. It's been 45, 50 degrees here in Indiana today, so I'm ready for a warm, sunny beach. But
Oh,
whether it's here or there, I'd like to have a dedicated building, actual school building to teach in and expand my student base. And host a lot more self-defense seminars for whatever community I'm in, and possibly even travel nationally or internationally to teach self-defense. I think, there's still a lot of underdeveloped areas that people just need to learn to protect themselves. Well, they need to here too.
yeah.
But I really want to get more into teaching self-defense as a whole. And just really, like you said, community centers, churches, Boys and Girls Club, things like that you can go out and teach people that it's okay to take care of yourself, and you can do it no matter what. But yeah, I'd really like to grow my business. I don't want to do it for the next couple of years while my son's still in sports, but in 10 years, I hope to have a really good student base, and just really, I'm big on the self-defense. That's really my dream, is to just teach mostly self-defense.
Yeah, it seems like when you're starting off martial arts, you realize that everything that you're learning is self-defense. It's just like you gotta learn how to use it properly.
Right. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that that's something you have to practice over and over too. That you don't necessarily have to have the formal taekwondo or karate classes, but you have to still practice and develop the muscle memory for whatever it is you're learning.
Yeah, it's like I always tell my students, like you must train like 2 minutes a day should be enough for you to really train on any technique. So we're not asking you to like give yourself a workout. I mean, we want you
Right.
to be familiar with those techniques. We want you to build those muscles. So when you're going to class, I mean, not only you're getting better, you're preparing. Like, you want to move forward when you're students. You don't want to keep going to stay in the same place or going backwards. You want to always go forward.
Exactly. Continue to improve and develop and find what works for you. That's something Kumu Michelle Manu talks about constantly. Make it your own, make it your own. And I think that's the thing, that you can't make it your own until you've learned it.
And the same thing with self-defense and katas. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. So is there any last minute words you'd like to tell our listeners out there before we head out?
The main thing, all the tenets of Taekwondo and martial arts as a whole are important to me. The indomitable spirit is huge. Whatever it is that you think you can't do, you can. Don't give up. Keep doing it. Just because you failed once or twice or 20 times doesn't mean you can't. You can always push through and find a way. making it your own, doing it your way, but you can succeed in whatever you have before you.
Right. Amazing. Thank you very much for joining me, Emily, and I hope everything goes well with you in your studio. So hopefully you expand next 10 years or maybe even 5 years. So really get those students in there, teach them self-defense, and let's spread the positivity of martial arts everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. For those who are just tuning in, tune into my previous episodes on the bicbpradio.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And yet, I'll see you next time for another episode here at the Kickpod. And this is your host, TJ Williams, bowing you out.